studios in Oklahoma City. This is an OSU update. I'm Jenny Carlson. The Cowboy basketball team is playing their best basketball of the year on a stretch right now that's as impressive as any around the country. John Helsley joins us on the phone right now. And okay, John, maybe not as impressive as Kentucky and their undefeated run, but still some games that have been really tough opponents. Some road games included, and the Cowboys are surging right now. What is behind this recent run of good play?
I think it comes down to this team's kind of developing toughness, Jenny. You know, they've really taken on the personality of their coach, Travis Ford. You know, we've heard several guys talk recently about the chip on their shoulder, and I think as games have gone on, they've bought into that personality. And if they'll play tough, if they'll play hard, if they'll play good defense for the course of a game, good things happen. And you know, it's not the sexiest personality in the world. Not a lot of points being scored sometimes. It doesn't always look pretty, but it gets the job done, and that's pretty much who they are.
Well, you know, John, you and I got a chance to see the Saturday game against Kansas. OSU got down big in the first half, trailed by 11 at halftime, if memory serves me right. Then you were in Waco Monday night for that game against Baylor. Again, the Cowboys falling behind, not quite double digits, but Baylor with a couple leads on them. The starts have gotten better, but still the Cowboys have found themselves in holes, but it hasn't equated to losses. What turns the tide for them in those games when they fall behind?
They just keep going at it. You know, they keep battling. And there was twice they got down by 8 at Baylor, and you think, okay, this is kind of a classic letdown game. They had won at Texas and Kansas the week before. They're feeling pretty good. You know, not necessarily the same pressure to win. And yet they didn't play like that. They kept battling back. They cut it to 1 at the half, and then they pretty much took control in the second half. And you know, it was their game to win, and they did win it. And they did it with those same things we talked about. They were tough. They played good defense. They finally got some shots to fall, which wasn't happening in the first half. And just sort of a stick-to-itness about this team is carrying them a long way.
You know, John, it seems like the hallmark of this squad, as you mentioned, toughness. It really is more about the defensive end than the offensive end, but we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about some of the offensive performances that the Cowboys are getting. And I would say topping that list right now is LeBron Nash, a guy that, you know, has had some times when people have thought, you know, where's his full game? Where is he when they need him? It seems like he may be sort of fighting through some things as well, and he seems to be playing pretty well offensively for the Cowboys right now.
Yeah, he is playing well, and he's actually even playing better on defense. He's working harder on the defensive end. And, you know, for LeBron, and I hate to guess for him here, but I'm going to say probably the fact that this team's having some success. It's doing well. It's his final season, and maybe he recognizes here, you know what, I got to get after it, and if I do, I can really help this team, and we can go places. And, you know, right now they are going places. You look at some of the projections now, they're as high as a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. You know, they've already played Texas twice, Baylor twice, OU twice, Kansas twice. You know, so they've got some winnable games coming up. They've got 7 wins in the conference. You can legitimately and realistically say they might get to 11 if they just play decently from here to the end of the regular season.
Well, John, let's talk about one of those games coming up. You mentioned Baylor looked like it could potentially be a classic letdown game. Instead, the Cowboys rally and win, but a potential letdown game would be this Saturday at TCU. Just a couple weeks ago when the Cowboys were struggling to win on the road, this looked like one of the few winnable road games. But now the Cowboys seem to have some things figured out about winning on the road. How do they avoid, though, letting this potentially become a spot where they might drop a game and look back in a few weeks and say, wow, wish we could have got that one at TCU? How do they avoid that?
You know, a couple of days ago, say Saturday evening after they'd beaten Kansas, the quick turnaround to go play Baylor looked like a really difficult proposition for the Cowboys. Well, they won that game, and now it looks like a good thing because now they get several days to rest. Phil Forte is going to need that coming off the flu. I think mentally they'll be able to readjust. If they're playing TCU a couple of days later, I think that could have been a real issue. I think they'll be ready. You know, they've got LeBron Nash from that area. They've got Phil Forte from that area. A lot of OSU fans have shown up for those games at TCU the last 2 years and really made it feel like an OSU crowd. They're not great big crowds, but TCU has not been getting a very good following even this season. So I think it won't be a hostile environment at all. I think there'll be a lot of friendly faces there, and I think they'll be able to kind of regroup, and the days off here during this week will help them.
All right. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoma.